I'm offended for Chris.
Bam! Grand Slam is over. And did they hit the bullseye? That's what we're going to talk about tonight because this was a very important show for them. Inside that stadium where their attendance has been down, rumored, their attendance has been down since All In, which was the highest paid wrestling event in the entire history of wrestling. Did Grand Slam hit the bullseye today? Hello again, everybody. I'm the exec consultant, joined by the great Grand Pooba and Dan the Man. And these two are actually running the show today. I'm not going to be on long. All right. I just want to hear some thoughts and opinions of AEW Grand Slam before I take my leave. Great Grand Pooba, how are you doing this evening?
I'm great. It's great that you have the star of this brand here. And it's great to work with you again, Dan the Man. You know, we did the Impact Review Show. I think Impact has fallen into a black hole. So now that I'm here on AEW to review with you, I am excited to do that.
Yeah, well, I think right now Impact is probably somewhere in the abyss. Get it? The abyss.
I already like your humor.
Who currently works for WWE, but yes, we get that announcement.
So
wow, yeah, thanks a lot, Ted Turner.
Man, this guy over here wearing hater blockers inside, when really the only hater here is the executive consultant.
I agree. No, absolutely.
But I think we just saw a very interesting episode of AEW Dynamite Grand Slam tonight. I have my thoughts and opinions of it. I would consider myself to be a big AEW fan, and I think you would be very surprised to hear what I have to say about tonight's show.
It sounds like what you're going to do is give an honest opinion, which a lot of AEW fans, I'm not trying to attack them, when you give criticism, they're ready to burn your house down. I look forward to hearing it. There's a lot of spots that before we went on the air, I said like, hey, I was watching, but I had the TV on mute because I had another show that I was doing. Shout out to the Trio of Destiny. So I can't wait to hear your opinion. And why don't you please take the floor and tell us, because Grand Slam, I was pretty close. I don't want to say pretty close, but I thought about going to Grand Slam because out here in Queens, I am a Queens boy. And I was like, oh, man, that seemed really cool to go out there because I've never been to an AEW event. I would like to.
Are you the king of Queens, though?
No, I am not Doug Heffernan. I cannot take that title. Doug Heffernan is the king. I one day hope to reach that level, of course, but he is king. Shout out to him and Carrie. Because honestly, he hit the jackpot with Carrie. But it's out
kicking the coverage, bro. Out kicking the coverage.
and real quick, I do want to say King of Queens is a phenomenal show. If you have not watched that, please check that show out. It's great.
Absolutely.
But it was out here in Queens. I did want to go. I didn't go. And I'm kind of glad because I get to do the review show with you, and I hope to experience an AEW show at some point. But it was out here, and I believe they'll be out here next year because I was talking to Vic, and we were talking about AEW being out here. And this is kind of their New York market. Like, you know, WWE, they have Madison Square Gardens and the Barclays Center. And AEW, they have Off the Rash, which is not bad. I think it's cool. Especially, once again, biased because I live in Queens. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. But please take the floor and give your thoughts and tell us about AEW, please.
So let's just kind of jump in. I'm going to do a little synopsis here. This is supposed to be one of their premiere episodes of Dynamite. This is probably the main Dynamite that everybody looks forward to every year. They've made a tradition out of this. Tony Khan has been big on saying that he likes to stick to tradition. Despite him saying that he wants to do year-end at Daly's Place every year and has really failed on that in the past 2 years. But beyond that, he's oversaturated Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
He's really kind of pushed this New York thing. And I think beyond that, They do tend to love Florida, which I have no issue with. But
how often are they in? I didn't mean to cut you up, but how often? Because I feel like they're, when you said Chicago, I was like, oh, for sure. But how often are they in Florida?
I would say, I mean, they were in South Florida once this year, and they were in Central Florida once this year. So I think that's twice only from what I can remember that they were here so far, like this year. But also keep in mind, they're only doing what 52. Well, I'm saying Dynamites. They also doing Collision now too. So yeah, there's a lot that they have going on, and they do need to hit Orlando because they were in Tampa, they were in South Florida. Orlando, I think, is one of the next ones they need to go to, and they haven't been to Jacksonville so far this year. And I cannot imagine this year going by without them being in Daly's place.
Right. No, I can agree to that. That seems like their home base.
That is the home. That is the home. And for whatever reason, they could put on a garbage show, and it still just feels better and different when it's at Daly's place. There's just something about it that makes the broadcast work.
Would you say it's the atmosphere?
Probably so. Probably so. So, but anyways, this is supposed to be the premiere episode, and we really were getting a pay-per-view type of quality card. And let's just go ahead and jump right in to the opening match.
Yes.
We had the executive consultant's favorite, Mr. New York himself, Eddie Kingston.
And as I said, I was not going to be on the show long. This is where I take my lead. This is where I show my problem and my disapproval of putting that championship on that man and taking it away from Antonio Cesaro. Highly upset. You two gentlemen have a good episode.
Thank you, sir. So,
and now the party starts. But I do want to sit here and say real quick, when you said the King of New York, I thought you were saying Frank Sinatra. I thought they undigged him, and he was going against Claudio. He said Antonio Cesaro, and clearly he doesn't know nothing. But please take the floor.
I think in all reality, what he truly means is Claudio Castagnoli.
Yeah.
But
well, you know what it is when you started watching wrestling in 2012. Your knowledge is very limited, but I digress.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially when you have the wherewithal of watching wrestling as if you are a child. So
I agree. You know what he remind me of? He remind me of frozen steak. No one wants it.
No one does want it. Frozen ass steak.
It's awful.
But it's not even just frozen steak. It's cooked steak that was now frozen again.
Why would I want that?
Why?
Absolutely.
I
don't even think the starving children in Ethiopia want that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think anybody would want that.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
But anyways, let's dive into this match. So
sure.
There was a lot around this, a lot of storylines, a lot of fanfare. They actually, I think this was one of the matches that had a really good build. And one of my biggest knocks on AEW over the past few years has been their inability to properly book matches. I think they're very good at storylines, but I think they fail in really booking things in advance. And I think this one felt like we had a little bit more in advance. We knew this was going to happen, but I think one of their big things is I don't want to compare this to WWE, but WWE will start booking their matches a month or weeks out, whereas we'll have a big, huge pay-per-view right around the corner, and then AEW likes to say, all right, this is the Dynamite before, let's put out the whole card. Why would you do that? I don't understand that. That makes zero sense to me. You're basically just telling everyone, hey, you're going to buy this pay-per-view because we are AEW. No, you are a under 5-year-old company,
right?
And you think people are just going to go out and buy the show off of because your history is putting out phenomenal pay-per-views. I will give them that. They put out phenomenal, great pay-per-views.
Mhm.
but book properly, promote properly.
That's a big thing. Yeah.
That is a huge thing, and that is my big knock with this company right now.
Mhm.
Beyond the fact that I do feel a certain way about CM Punk, not a huge fan of his, but I do feel he really was a draw, and you had to kind of figure
No, he
out
was.
a way. You
No,
got to
absolutely.
figure out something. And now it seems to snowball here with Cargill now. I don't know what's going on with that, but go ahead.
No, it's and I didn't want to get into chat real quick. We have, I hope I'm saying it, but I'm just gonna call you M. So respectfully, because I mispronounced that. What is it? Mish
Mika.
does it. Mika does it. Okay, we're saying Mika does it. No surprise, no returns, no surprise returns or debuts. How do you feel about this? And put also, show sucks. There really was no surprise. I saw a lot of people thinking that Mercedes would return, or I said return or debut. I know last year, and I know we'll get into that match later, but we had Soraya. She debuted last year, and that was a big surprise.
It's huge.
That was huge, especially with her. She was let go, and then is she going to wrestle?
Right.
So that was a big thing. There was none of that tonight. You was talking about a bunch of things. You was talking about the. I feel like you're talking about the all out, all in thing, and my piece on that is that I don't like that these shows are a week apart because I just that just doesn't seem like smart booking to me.
Nah.
And what else? You were talking about the booking and stuff. I mean, they hot shot a lot of stuff. They hot shot a lot of stuff. Maichu. Okay. Thank you for helping me pronounce that because my pronunciation sucks. Maichu. I like that. Maichu. It's like I like that. Maichu. Okay. Thank you for breaking that down because my pronunciation stinks. So thank you.
I choose you, Maichu.
There we go. Well, I want you to know that my favorite Pokemon is Pikachu. So Maichu. Pikachu. My Pikachu. Mercedes. I'm sorry. Let me just read real quick. It says Mercedes needs to go back to WWE and give me that fatal 4-way match with the 4 horsewomen. I think real quick, and please take the floor. I believe eventually she will go back. It just won't be anytime soon. I don't have a timetable, obviously, but I believe that eventually she will. But please take the floor because you're talking about. Let's jump into the first match.
Yeah. So let's jump into this first match here.
Sure.
I thought we had a decent match. I do not feel this lived up to the hype. I think their match that they had at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that they had earlier this year, that was a way better quality match than this was. Okay. I do understand that they are restricted on time. There are those time constraints, and I think that is an issue when you do only have a 2-hour show trying to fit in 5 really solid matches. Okay. But this didn't live up to me. I think I'm not an Eddie Kingston fan by any means. Mm-hmm. I think Eddie Kingston is one of those talents that I just look at and I'm like, how did you get put in this position? And I don't see the ability from him as I see from some of the other talents. I do know that he is a big fan favorite, though. I do think it was the right call to put the belt on him. I am interested to see where he goes because it felt that Claudio's run was getting stale.
My nephew was saying that himself. He was saying Claudio's run just seems stale. Eddie, you were saying some things. I think one of the things that got Eddie over, I'm not even like a super big Eddie fan, but when he talks, I listen. He has a certain delivery to him. And this was a surprise that he was going to win here. I mean, he's home. I believe he brought out his family. I think I missed this match. I missed this match completely. But
I don't think you missed much.
And, there's this history with them. And I will be the first to sit here and say, I don't know the history. I know they keep saying, we don't like each other. And I don't know why they don't like each other. I don't know if Eddie stepped on his foot or They got tacos, and there was roasted bean tacos, which sounds like it's awful.
Somebody blew up the car. I mean that's the only logical
someone
thing.
blew up a car. Maybe he said, "Hey, let's watch this Fast and Furious movie," and he held a grudge ever since. But I feel like that was thank you. That was fantastic. Thank you. That was funny. But I wasn't surprised that he got the win. My only thing here is, for me, I don't watch ROH, right? So he got the ROH champion, and I'm like, oh, I guess cool. And this is nothing against Eddie. It's just like the ROH brand is not. It's not in demand. I think that's the best way I can word it. It's not in demand. It's not. It's like, do you watch ROH?
I do not. I do not know what's going on storyline wise there. I know they try and intertwine that a little bit with regular AEW programming, but I know the only way to watch Ring of Honor is to subscribe to the app, which I believe is like $10 a month, and you get all the previous old Ring of Honor content and the weekly episodic shows.
Sure.
I don't know that that's really something that I'm very interested in.
Mm-hmm. No, and I feel the same way. It's. I want ROH to kind of be its own thing. I get why they have ROH talent on AEW, because they know that there's going to be more eyes on AEW than ROH. It's just, I don't know. It's just I for me, when I see ROH stuff on AEW, it just feel like this is such a watered down version of ROH.
Yep.
And I'm not, and once again, not this big ROH fan, so I'm interested in hearing people who watch the brand and try to tell me something. But it just feels so watered down. It's like, hey, I know you didn't watch ROH, but hey, if you watch AEW, you can see the ROH champion. And we'll have to see how others all go. But I missed this match, but you pretty much was turned off by this match. Or not interested. Maybe that's a better way of wording.
Not interested.
There we go. Okay. What else do we got? Dan the Man.
So our next match of the night, was. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up the card here. I believe the next match was Jericho and Guevara.
I believe that was, because I think by that point, that's when I was reviewing, if I could do a cheap plug here, for Unpublic View Entertainment. We were reviewing My Adventures of Superman. We finished the last 3 episodes, but I was watching it, but I had it on mute. We have Sammy Guevara against one Chris Jericho, the same Chris Jericho, by the way, if I could throw this out here, who beat Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And I know this because he keeps mentioning it.
He does.
He does. After 20 years, he still mentions, hey, you remember the night I beat your faves? And honestly, for me, if I could just throw out here, when I was growing up, and I tell people this a lot, people were like, Stone Cold, Rock. I was like, Jericho. Because I was the Jericho guy. Like, I thought he was better than both of them. But shout out to them, because they are GOATs, talking about Stone Cold and The Rock. Eventually, The Rock will be in the Hall of Fame. We all know that. Rock right now, he's going to wait to be in the Hall of Fame after he rock bottoms Dom Toretto, and then he'll be in the Hall of Fame. He's just waiting to get that moment out. But what did you think about this match? I'm tired of Dom Toretto. I'm sorry. I can do a rant about Dom Toretto because I'm just so tired of him. But I'll say that for another show. I might say that for the Dom Toretto rant. But what did you think about this match about Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara? I mean, both of these they're both members of the Jericho Appreciation Society, the Inner Circle. I don't know what they're called at this moment, but these two have a long history. I mean, they were linked since day one. So I am interested in hearing your thoughts. I mean, you was watching AEW since day one, correct?
Yep.
So what did you think about this match?
I think I had higher expectations for it. And that might have been me. I might have created a little bit of that in my own head just by what I've expected from these two. I don't think it was a bad match. I just don't think it was as good as I believe it could be. Now, I do believe they will have a second match, and that'll probably be at Full Gear. But I do believe that it was a good finish. I thought Guevara going for his what was it? His signature. I don't even know what it's called. Is
it the flipping move?
The flipping move. He went and did that flip. I think it's like the 630 or 6. I don't know what it is.
It might have been the 630. I was going to call it the Great Flip because I mean everyone flipped, but I think it's the 630. I believe you're correct.
So he went for that, and then Jericho just kind of popped up and hit him with the
code breaker,
and that was it. And I thought that was a fun finish. I thought it was a finish that I would have liked them to call. So I give them kudos on the finish. But I look at Jericho matches now, and Jericho matches obviously aren't going to give us the same quality as we got 10, 15 years ago.
20 at that. I get you. No, I agree.
Yeah, so I have to remember who Chris Jericho is now, and he's more of the methodical wrestler performer who's going to give you solid matches, and he won't fail in the ring, but he's not going to be the same performer that he was in his early WWF, WWE, or even WCW days.
Yes, thank you. I was going to go with WCW, and it's funny if I could just go a little bit, because when you mentioned WCW, I was watching some like throwback stuff with Jericho, and Jericho when he was doing like the drop, you know how he does the middle rope drop kick thing when someone does something. I saw him when he jumped to the top rope, and I said, "Oh my god!" Like I was impressed because I didn't know he could do that. So yeah, you're not going to get those same Jericho matches that you got, like you said, WCW. ECW, WCW, early 2000 WWE, WWF, but you know that I was saying for Jericho that, and maybe it's biased lens, I don't know, but I sit here and say, he's not horrible, but I can acknowledge he's not the same Jericho of 15 years ago.
He's not, and
he's not.
I mean, he's still an asset for AEW to have. And I think, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Jericho taking the pinfall was the right move, but I understand that there is still a story to be told with this. Now, the whole Don Callis thing, I don't know that Guevara needs to continue to be a heel. I think Jericho is better off when he is the heel and not the face. So this is a very interesting take and turn on this. And putting Guevara, who, let's be honest, is not necessarily the best on the microphone, with a Don Callis, it actually is going to do wonders for Guevara's career. And as it happened, didn't care for it. As I had some time to really sit and stew on it, I like what they're doing. I think this has a lot of potential. I think the Don Callis family is going to get bigger, and I think it will be an interesting faction that they come up with. I'm not sure who will be added to it. I hope Daniel Garcia is not included in this, because I feel Daniel Garcia needs to go on his own. He's been in a group too long, and I would much rather see Takeshita and Guevara kind of take the lead here of a group.
And also, too, you got to include, to an extent, Will Ospreay, because he's kind of part of the family. I think he's kind of part of the family, correct?
No, Ospreay.
No? Okay.
He just kind of came in there. He's not really a part of the family.
Okay.
So, who even knows the next move for Will Ospreay, if it is indeed coming to AEW, or if it's staying in New Japan, or even going to WWE. He's got his own things that he's got to work out.
I think from one of the interviews I remember listening to, it sounded like he just wants to stay in England because he doesn't want to be in America. And I respect it. You was talking earlier about, and I hear what you're saying. You said you gave yourself some time to realize, or sit here and go, oh, this might have been a better move. So I feel with Sammy Guevara, he's just so much better as a heel because even when they've tried to make him a baby, right? They've tried multiple times, but I feel like the crowd always was like, they never accepted him as a baby. So him being a heel, and I feel like Jericho has a better chance of being a baby. Like he could do the heel, he could do the baby, but he has a better chance as a baby than Sammy, and that's why they went the route that they did. You said some really smart things when you said Sammy, when he gets the mic. I don't know. I've never been offended when Sammy talks, but I can understand what you mean at the same time where you're like, but why don't we give the mic to somebody else, right? And you give it to someone like Don, who does get good heat. He gets tremendous heat.
He gets really good.
Matter of fact, you know what cracks me up about Don Callis? Don Callis is such an interesting individual to me. His music is literally just humming.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that entertains me. It makes me laugh. But I thought that was the right move to turn him heel.
Absolutely.
Hopefully that I don't know where it goes from here, but hopefully it's something better because Sammy Guevara is he's in his early 20s. He's somebody, and when I see a young wrestler and they're in their early mid 20s, I'm like, that's a wrestler that we're going to be watching for the next 10, 15 years.
Right.
Because they're young.
Absolutely. But one of my complaints is that you have your four pillars, right? You have MJF, Darby Allin, Jack Perry, and Guevara, Sammy Guevara. All of them are heels. I mean, you could argue MJF is kind of the baby face right now, or kind of that tweener, but they're all heels.
Sure.
Darby's the face. Darby's the face.
I forgot about Darby. Yeah.
Darby is the face, sure. But I think we really need to kind of figure out, how they all are in each facet. I feel like MJF could really succeed pretty much in any role. In any role you want to give that guy, he can succeed. Like if he decides truly just to say, screw all this, I'm going straight baby face, I think he'd be great. I think he'd be phenomenal. I really do. I think you could make that man go full on. Like I'm talking, cut out the cheating, cut out all the BS, but still be a badass, and he would be entertaining. Darby, I just don't see anything really entertaining out of Darby besides his in-ring work. His mic skills are probably the worst out of all of them, and that's saying something because Jack Perry is absolute a steaming pile of dog doo-doo that's just sitting there and stinking up the whole joint. All right. So I
do think Jack Perry have the weaker of you talking about all four of them.
Oh yeah.
No, I agree to that. There's not with Jack Perry, there's not a lot of charisma with him. It's his weakest point, truthfully. You said MJF. I mean, he's a guy. All right, so I was talking to a friend of the podcast, and we were talking about MJF, and he was on one of the New York news stations, right. And I thought he did such a killer job because he's very charismatic, like, and that's a thing that you really want to have as a wrestler. I mean, right. I believe. I mean, I feel like that's what you want to have.
Of course.
No, because some people don't realize that, but that's why I said that. But carry on. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Jack Perry is starting to find a stride, and it's a shame that he's been missing lately over everything going on, because I was really getting interested in his character and the development of it, because I feel like he was starting to come out of a shell, which was really kind of cool to see.
Like a crab or a snail?
A little bit of Mr. Krabs, I
like Mr. Krabs. He knows how to save money.
He does. And I feel that Jack Perry was starting to kind of see the money here. So
would you? I don't want to throw fire into the wood, but would you say the other guy was plankton?
if there was ever another person that is comparable, I think it would be that other guy.
Okay, there we go. I just wanted to be sure because if you have a Mr. Crab, they got to be a plankton. Absolutely. Okay, there you go.
And their whole outlook and their view is pretty similar. But anyways, neither here nor there. So I thought we had a decent match with Jericho and Guevara.
Yeah.
Expected a little better, but I'm interested to see.
But this is probably going to be a rematch. Like you said, there's going to be at what'd you say, Revolution, right? Because I know they don't have a
Full Gear.
Full Gear.
Wrestle Dream is coming up, which
right, but you think they would definitely save that for
you need to.
I agree. Okay.
So moving on, we had the next match was for the International Championship. We had
I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this one.
We had Mr. AEW himself, Jon Moxley, against Rey Fénix. Now, this
here we go.
Was quite the match.
Here we go. I already feel like this is going to be a real. I'm trying to find a pin, but please take over.
This match, I don't know where to begin with this match because it was unnecessary. It did not need. We certainly didn't need this for Grand Slam. And the only thing this match did was leave me scratching my head. I don't feel this match was bad by any means, but I don't feel this match was good by any means. You did not need to have this match. If you needed to have this match, I would have put this thing on Rampage. I don't see the need for what you did with this. And your outcome ultimately is because of being unsafe in the ring. You just went and you took one of the greatest championship reigns we've seen recently in company history off of one of the biggest workhorses and one of the best characters in OC, and you took his title reign away unnecessarily, gave him the main event and a huge match and a huge win that would have been for his career on a huge pay-per-view, took it away and gave it to Jon Moxley, which I'm not going to ever fault Jon Moxley because that man's always deserving of everything. But I feel Orange Cassidy needed that win more than Jon Moxley needed that win. And you took the belt off of him. And I felt there was going to be another meeting between Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley. And boy, am I disappointed. Because not that Rey Fénix is undeserving, because Rey Fénix is one hell of a talent. He is the epitome of what All Elite Wrestling is and can be, along with Penta. But you're going to tell me in 2.5 weeks that we're going to take this belt off of Jon Moxley and put it on Rey Fénix, the guy who ended one of the best title reigns, and you're going to destroy his title reign within 2.5 weeks for Rey freaking Fénix? You have got to be kidding me right now. I do not need this. I do not want this. I am happy for Rey Fénix, but you just single-handedly destroyed a phenomenal storyline by putting the belt so quickly on Rey Fénix. There was no build for this match. There was no reason for this match. It was thrown together. This was some WCW Monday Nitro 2000s bull crap. This is the reason where these types of matches and finishes and results is the reason WCW went out of business. And now I have AEW pulling the same bullshit. Excuse my language, ladies and gentlemen. There is no reason that this should have happened tonight. But the only reason this happened tonight was Jon Moxley unfortunately got concussed during this match. And they had to stop this match. And Ray Phoenix won.
So, that part I did not know about. You mentioned it. So I was watching the match. I was so surprised that Ray won the championship. I was like, I did not see that. I did not have that on my bingo card for tonight, right?
They had to call it.
And I'm gonna get to you in a minute, Roderick. Give me a minute. Stay here. Because he knows what he's doing here. I didn't know he was concussed. I saw the ref botch, right? You know, he hit the move, he hit the power driver, sit out power driver, and the ref was like, and then Ray Phoenix hit it again and pinned him. Was he concussed? Because I missed this part, but was he concussed after the power driver, or was it something else after?
I believe it was that first pile driver. I don't know the exact moment or time, but I believe it was that pile driver because the ref looked confused, and I believe Moxley was supposed to kick out of that. Yeah,
because the ref seemed confused, and I was like, "Why did the ref do that?" I said, "That's not a good look," you know, because you see the ref like. But now understanding a little bit more, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that." I'm sorry. Can I have 2 minutes here? Because this man right here. Shout out to Roderick, not Roderick Strong, but Roderick G. We'll say Roderick G because my pronunciation is horrendous. LOL. Maybe Ikemen Jiro can challenge Ray Phoenix for the title. I know why he did that. He said that because he knows I review NXT. It's a fun time. I have a good time because I'm yelling. But everyone knows that I am not a fan of jacket time. I don't like wrestlers who wear jackets. And no, I think that Ray Phoenix should dominate Ikemen. I'm talking about when he hits him with the power driver. I don't want him to get hurt, but I hope that there's explosions after that. So there's that. But please take the floor. I'll just finish with this. When I saw it, I was so surprised that Jon Moxley dropped the title. Especially when you look at Jon Moxley, he's so protected in AEW, right? Like the stuff that I've ever seen with Jon Moxley. Can I sit here and say this? What surprised me? If you said, "Hey, the Great Grand Poopa, what surprised you about this match?" Jon Moxley didn't bleed. He was blown away
because he was too damn busy getting concussion. That's what happened. That's what happened.
I didn't know he was concussed. I hope the best for Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, I think you would agree to this, deserve a vacation. He really does. I mean, he
deserved a vacation for the longest time.
Very much. I mean, Jon Moxley, you know, we make the jokes about him bleeding and all that stuff, and I think he can laugh at it because he's always bleeding. I just sit here and say, like, man, this dude has carried AEW. Especially last year. I just want to go to last year. If there was a time point last year, especially with the whole Brawl In situation and all that stuff, he has just been holding that company down. Shout out to him. But I didn't know he was I didn't know he was concussed. I had no idea about that. What was the next thing? Dan the Man.
So our next match of the evening was I believe we had the AEW Women's Championship, Soraya against Toni Storm.
Can I ask you real quick? Because you're the AEW not influence
aficionado.
That sounds so fancy. But what do you think about Toni Storm's character?
I love it. I was just gonna dig right into that. I love it. It is fun. It is innovative. It is different. It is something that we have not really seen in professional wrestling. I love the direction of the character.
And, you know, I just want to give him a thumbs down because I know he just wants to get my reaction because, you know, stuff. But I'm going to give you a thumbs down here, Roddy. But no, I agree. Toni Storm has found something that Toni Storm, I think none of us ever complained about Toni Storm. I think
No.
she's always been such a great talent and everything like that. But to find a character, especially like Mother Monroe, I think 1920s, but I'm pretty sure it's not 1920s.
Yeah, but it's somewhere in
Mhm.
between. But can I just I just want to
Sure, please. Yes.
Toni Storm
Mhm.
is the Natalia of AEW.
Do you mean when you say that, right? You mean that she doesn't, and this is no knock on Natalia because, but you mean like she puts over talent?
She puts
Like
over
what?
talent. She is the unselfish
Hmm.
semi workhorse of the company. The
Okay.
hand that that you can
Mhm.
count on to deliver, but you don't necessarily, for whatever reason, put in the spotlight. And maybe that's because Natty has struggled with her character. Toni Storm has found something with this.
She did.
Toni Storm
I
has
agree.
found something with this.
I agree.
And this is going to take her from being meddling in the pack to being up here. Because right now, I didn't consider her a babyface, but apparently she's a babyface right now. And
Let me ask you. I had this. I had the TV on mute, but what was the crowd reaction? Was you able to hear the crowd reaction regards to her? Like, would they take her in, like cheering for her and booing Soraya? Like,
Soraya got booed. Soraya got booed. You can tell the crowd kind of wanted. They were in for some Toni Storm.
yeah.
I feel Toni Storm might be the logical choice to take the belt back away from Soraya. Is it going to happen right away? I don't know. I don't know what they plan on doing with Soraya. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think Britt Baker might be a good option also, but I don't know that I want Britt Baker around the AEW title.
I wouldn't. I think she had her time in the sun, and I'm pretty sure they'll eventually put the title back on her. Eventually, I'm pretty sure that they would definitely do it. I think Toni right now. I don't know who's going to take the title off Soraya, right?
Well,
But Toni right now, it just feels like the
Toni needs
time. I don't know if she needs it though. I just feel like when you have once again, I had the TV on mute. So if you're saying that they were booing Soraya, but really were chopping at, I don't want to say chopping at the bits.
I don't want to say chomping at the bit.
Sure.
I mean,
Mhm.
I think this is a new thing here and they're kind of getting used to it, but this kind of felt like a launching pad for a further match.
Right.
And I think, I will say this.
Sure. Please hit the floor.
I know I was just talking about Britt Baker, and I don't want her around the AEW title. I want Britt Baker around the TBS title. I want Britt Baker to win that TBS title to put some relevancy behind it. Because
how do you feel about I didn't mean to cut you off, apologies, but how do you feel about Chris Statlander as the champ?
I do not feel. I am not interested. I do not care. It was something I was in for. I thought she should have taken the belt off of Cargill, but I thought she should have taken the belt off of Cargill at All In front of a large audience, not in some throwaway, hey, I challenge everyone, I'm so great, come out and fight me, 30-second, 1-minute match. I think that is ridiculous. I don't think that you do that. You don't end Goldberg's streak on a 30-minute match right after a match.
No, you ended at like a 5-minute match.
That's all he can go. But
that's what she said.
Yeah. Hey. So there were some issues there. Statlander's not doing it for me. This character, for whatever reason, I'm not connecting with it.
That's wild. I mean, not even that's wild, but it's amazing to hear that, because a lot of people are saying Chris Statlander should take the title off Jay Cargill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she did it, and now that she, But would you say that? And I asked you as the AEW enthusiast, right? Do you feel like it was too soon? Like, what was it for you that made you go, man, this is not hitting? Like,
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
sure,
It should have happened.
Mhm.
Shouldn't happen like that. I get why they did it, because they wanted to give you that oh my gosh moment, that shocking moment, and it gave you the shocking moment,
Mhm.
but it didn't give you much else besides the shock. Once the shock factor wore off, it was like, now what?
Mm.
And I think they did a disservice to Jade Cargill by doing that. And I don't know if that's the reason, supposedly, with these rumors that she's leaving and going to WWE or whatever it is. I don't know what the whole issue is with that, but that was a fumble. That was a fumble, and an unnecessary fumble. And and I'll just say, I don't believe that Jade Cargill is this amazing wrestler. I think she has a great character. I believe she has a storyline that can connect with the audience. I think she still has a long way to go to be a main event type of pay-per-view main event talent.
Right.
I mean, and when I say a long way to go, she has a long way to go to get there. If she thinks that she's just going to go to WWE and be this massive star right off rip, I think she'll connect with the audience. But when it comes down to wrestling with your Rhea Ripley's and your Raquel Rodriguez and your Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair, they're going to run circles around her.
This is one of the things. So I did an NXT review show yesterday because it was Tuesday. They just trot me out here every chance they get because I'm the face that runs the place.
You're that damn good.
Thank you, Dan. But you know, one of the things with Jade, if they're going to bring her in WWE, I think we can all agree she has the look.
She does have the look.
I think the character, she nails it. Could it be tweaked? Sure, why not? But because you can always grow no matter what. There's people who have been doing this for 10 years and they always find a way to tweak their character. Nothing wrong with that at all. In-ring has been her weakest. But I look at her, if she goes to the Performance Center, she's in NXT, you have Shawn Michaels, Norman Smalley, William Regal, and there's a bunch of other names I just can't rattle on top of my head, but those are 3 names right here that if I'm a wrestler, I want to be, and I'm a Bret Hart guy, so for me to say Shawn Michaels is a lot for me.
Yep.
But Shawn Michaels, once again, William Regal, I would love to learn anything from William Regal because he has so much experience. Norman Smalley, and I remember when I was watching WCW, and I feel like we're not too far apart in age, but like WCW, he was known for the big wiggle.
Yep.
But then there's all these other things that you see, like before he was doing WCW, he was a serious a wrestler. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of talent there that she can learn from, and I would hope that they take their time with her if this is a thing that they take their time with because she shouldn't be on the main roster. Don't rush it. There's potential there, but let's flush out the character and all these other things. I'm sorry, I was trying to find the right vernacular, but let's take our time with her is my point because I think that she can be something. And I'm a big Jade fan because I just think she's phenomenal. And like I said, there's things that she can work on. And we can get there is my point. We can get there if we take our time. Let's not rush. Let's not as much as it seemed like, oh, let's just throw in the main roster. Let's take our time.
Take the time.
Please. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take too much time. But
overall, this was not a bad match. I think it's pretty clear that Soraya has some limitations in the rings still, and it shows in these matches. I don't think this was a bad match by any means, but they really relied heavily on some gimmicks, you know, getting the spray involved and getting Ruby Soho kind of in the mix. And I don't know that Soraya can just go one-on-one, and that's a concern. That's a concern that I have. Maybe she can, and they're just trying to save it for the big match or the big moment.
Do you
and
think?
I hope
Revolution? It's Revolution, right?
Full Gear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Full Gear. Okay. Do you think they're saving it for Full Gear?
I think they're saving. I think she needs to be on the card. I do think she needs to be on the card. Whether they decide to go with a singles match or a triple threat or a four-way match or whatever, a multi-person match, that's yet to be seen. But I think that Soraya is definitely one of the better talents at the moment to put legitimacy on that title. But the next champion that you give that belt to, make it meaningful and make sure they're the champion for a long time, because you're beating an actual established star.
All right. Understood. Let me, if I can ask you real quick, and we'll move forward. Mercedes Moné, it seems like she's always been in the rumors about showing up in AEW.
Yeah.
What do you think about Mercedes and AEW?
I think they need each other.
Oh, you mean like AEW and Mercedes?
Absolutely. I think they both equally need one another right now. I think she needs to find somewhere that is not WWE to put a stamp on herself and to do it and make it somewhere else. New Japan is only going to get you so far. Impact is not going to do it for you. AEW really is the only place that you can do it, besides going back to WWE. And I think AEW needs that for their women's division. I was looking forward to getting a Mercedes Cargo match. That probably won't be happening in AEW, but I do think there's a lot of other talent to go there. I'm interested in a Baker Mercedes match. I'm interested in a Mercedes Statlander match. I'm interested in a Mercedes Soraya match. I'm interested in a Mercedes and Storm match. Beyond that, there's plenty of other women that I think she can help to elevate in that AEW women's locker room, and can help elevate her game as well. And she's going to want some big matches and some big paydays, and she's going to be able to get that.
All right. What was the next match that we have, Dan?
So this is the main event of the evening. This is AEW World Title. You had your world champion and our scumbag MJF.
Yeah.
Going up against the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. This match was the match of the night. This was the one that you were going to turn on Dynamite for. This was the world title match. This was a MJF match. This was a Samoa Joe match. Anytime you can get one of those guys, much less both of them in the ring, you know it's going to be one that you need to tune into. And you also had the title on the line. So they did a really good job of building this up and actually making it mean something, kind of, especially on a shorter kind of notice. And it made some sense what they did with this. They could have went in multiple directions with Samoa Joe, or they could have went with Roderick Strong, and it still would have made sense. And they found a way to put together a tournament and to kind of put it on the fly and, hey, we got this match. So this was, it had your near falls. It had, your false finishes. It had some good spots. But the big knock I had on this match, why is Adam Cole coming out at the very end and jumping off of the damn stage ramp. And I don't know if you saw that, but that man started limping as soon as he jumped off and was walking around.
I didn't see the
around. Oh, he got in the ring and started limping around and gingerly walking. And here I'm going, here we go again. Another injury is going to happen to this man.
I hope my man is not injured because I love me some Adam Cole. I saw him jump, but I didn't see the limp. But please carry on.
This man jumps right off the stage, awkwardly kind of lands. You don't see him pop up for another second or two. Then he's gingerly walking across, and I'm thinking, why did you jump? Why did you jump? Why did you do that? What? And for what purpose? Why would you put some damn stairs over there for these guys? What are you doing?
Well, you know, they kind of used to do kind of stuff like that when they had the ramp like that, because there's a long ramp, and they would have the stairs where you didn't have to do that. I hope my boy is not injured because, once again, I like Adam Cole, and also too, he's ROH champions with MJF.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I messed it up. Well, Jeffrey's in the chat. Shout out to Jeffrey. He's a part of the Jetpack community. Shout out to him. I got to highlight him because he's part of the Jetpack community, the Bad Guy club. He said, looked like he sprained his ankle. SMA. I hope he didn't. I do want to talk a little bit about this because, so once again, you know, Samoa Joe, MJF, right? Samoa Joe, he's walking out. He has the security, which is cool because it's kind of a callback to that NXT show. I think it was 2017. Forgive me. I don't remember the exact year because I am in my mid-30s. It's hard to remember everything. But MJF coming out as Bret Hart. Everyone knows I'm a Bret Hart guy. That's why I just like Goldberg and Shawn Michaels. And there's a bunch of other names. Whoever Bret Hart don't like, I don't like him. And Bret Hart don't like a lot of people.
No.
You don't. It's
but
funny.
That wasn't an amazing little opener there where
I think that was so cool. Max, and he turns around and he does that. I thought that was such a cool callback. I thought that was so cool. And you know, MJF got to have his own flair to it. So when he whispered, I miss when he whispered because I remember I saw the kid and he says, "Daddy, I'm adopted." I said, "Why did he say that?" Now, but then I watch back and he goes, I see that he whispered and I said,
right.
Oh, I just thought that was so cool because once again, I'm a Bret Hart guy, so anything with Bret, I rock with. So Shawn Michaels, eat shit. I shouldn't say that because I like Shawn a little bit. But I why don't you give your thoughts about this? Give more of your thoughts about this match.
Well, it went back and forth. I think we had some good action in this. It would appear to be that this might be the end of this storyline for the moment. MJF still did his cheating to win, and it added a flair to it. Adam Cole even helped to partake in some of the cheating and covering it up and hiding it because he got that tag rope and ended up choking Samoa Joe out with it. But overall, pretty solid. And
you know what? I didn't mean to cut you off, but you know what? That is a friend. That is what you're supposed to do. I'm a big fan of the song TLC, What About Your Friends? And Adam Cole is about his friends. He choked out this guy, Samoa Joe, who has been nothing but a constant bully to MJF. 7 years ago, he pushed MJF. MJF never forgot it. I am about holding grudges. Congratulations to him for doing that. Shout out to him for doing that. And Adam Cole said, Adam Cole realized that MJF said, I'm going to choke you out. And he fulfilled it and helped him. Shout out to him. That is what friends are about. If you're not about your friends that help choking people out, you are not a good friend. You're not about TLC. What about your friends? And honestly, you don't know music. So shout out to him for helping him out. Samoa Joe realized good game, shook hands with MJF because he realized you got me. I know I'm saying yo a lot, but I'll say yo one more time. Yo. and good job on MJF. But I do want to throw the floor to you, Dan the Man. Did you think that we were going to get a turn from one Adam Cole tonight?
Not tonight. You still got those tag titles. I'm looking at a turn coming up here within the next month or two. Might be Wrestle Dream, might not be Wrestle Dream, might not get this till Full Gear. So I would imagine we might get some dissension at Wrestle Dream. Probably lose the belts. Full Gear, we get the full on swerve and change. At some point, this title is going to have to come off MJF, and they're going to build some suspense here, especially with the impending free agency supposedly. I don't think he goes into January with the title.
What, the world title or the world title?
The world title.
Woo!
I don't think he goes into January because they're going to keep everyone guessing. Did he sign? Did he not sign?
If I can ask you real quick, I know we already hit the hour mark and we have completed the show, but let me ask you, what do you think MJF is going to do? Do you feel like he has resigned? Not even resigned. Do you feel like he will resign, or do you think he will make the jump?
I wouldn't be shocked if he already did resign.
Yeah.
But I do believe he will resign.
I believe that he will stay with AEW. I think he says all these things, but I feel like, and I agree. I just want to say I agree with you, sir, that I feel like he will stay with AEW. I mean, the man is young. Was he 23, 24?
Very young, 25,
yes.
Maybe somewhere in there. And don't forget, they just got a lot of money back from that CM Punk contract that they got out of. So that something very similar will be with MJF.
Well, there you go. I think that they will keep him. I think that he knows that that's what his brother. I sit here and go, once again, I was trying to figure out his age because he can stay with AEW for another 5 years and still go to WWE. Yep. I feel like at the end of the day, he will go there. I feel like that's where most people, and it's possibly, that's absolutely right. Because shout out to Sting, because they've been reaching out to Sting for years, and it took Sting many years to go to WWE, and it's a shame that his run was what it was. But I also am grateful for the content that Sting had provided for Impact, because there was some really good stuff there in TNA. I do sit here and say, if you didn't see that 2006 to when he left 2014, I believe,
somewhere
right?
in there, yeah, and went over.
But it was. My point is, he had some really good matches. I never thought I would see a Kurt Angle and Sting match ever, and we got that.
Probably the best Kurt Angle too was in TNA.
My man Kurt Angle once said, he said recently, and I have an audio podcast called the Big Pop Theory Podcast. She plug here, but Kurt Angle was saying, I don't feel like I'm the GOAT because I was in WWE for 6 years, but I was in Impact for all these years and no one saw these matches. And I've said that is the consumer's fault, because Kurt Angle had some bangers in TNA, like AJ Styles, Christian Cage, Sting,
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe was his great. I know we don't do an Impact review show so much, but who do you think was Kurt Angle's greatest rival in Impact?
Jeff Jarrett. For more than one reason.
I was saying, Jeff Jarrett. The best version of Jeff Jarrett was when he wanted to just be an MMA fighter.
Well.
But Kurt Angle is. I do want to sit here and say this. We have laughter and jokes, but Kurt Angle is a GOAT. I do want to sit here and say this on this podcast. This this visual podcast. Kurt Angle is a GOAT. Kurt Angle can sit here and say, "Oh, I'm not a GOAT because of this and this and this." Dude, your body of work speaks for itself. No matter that you was in WWE for less time than Impact, but I appreciate that the matches that you did with Shawn Michaels, and there's a whole lineup of people, man. Like maybe that should be the next top five Kurt Angle matches, because he had a bunch of bangers. talking about one Kurt Angle. But this was the AEW Review Show. Me and you, Dan, we did some Impact stuff. I hope to bring back Impact eventually. Hopefully. Yeah, he said, yeah, at some point, right? But this was great to do the AEW Review Show. I do want to just do some plugs right here, if I can. So, guys, you're watching Unpopular Review. We have so much content going on. There's the Mike Knox show on Mondays at 6 p.m. He's yelling a lot. So am I on Tuesday nights. I'm with the Wrestling Dar. On Tuesday, we review NXT. I was a special guest here on the AEW Review Show. Dan the Man, it seemed like you are the guy for AEW. Thank you for if I was working with the executive consultants, I'm not gonna lie, I would have left. And no one was gonna fire me because the face to run the place. But follow Unpopular Review. There's a top 5 tomorrow. If you're watching this live, cool. If you're watching this on the replay, there's a top 5. We're going to be reviewing the top 5 women matches. And since it's the Wrestling Doll's birthday, she's going to give her top 5. Also, there's a link to the entertainment page. They're reviewing Saw at the moment. I think there's some Jim Carrey movies at the same time on a following day. But follow us on all social media platforms. Continue to follow us on Public View. We do many, many things. We sit here, try to entertain you with wrestling, entertainment, and all that stuff. Dan the Man, I want to sit here and say thank you for this a fantastic AEW review show. And I could click the outro thing, but we're not going to do that. Top 5 why Jack hate Goldberg. I can give you that. I can give you that. Jeffrey Reimer, I can do that.
We don't have the time for that tonight.
Not tonight, but I can do that because you know what top 1 is? Because he hurt Bret Hart. And I will never forgive you. One, you know what it is? When you're bald, when you're bald-headed, you're just against people with hair. And I know that because people who have no hair attacks me every day. All the time.
You mean like the executive consultant?
The executive consultant is a dick. You know why he's a dick? Because he's the kind of guy who says...
Because he's got a hole on his head.
No, he'll go to the barbershop and say, yeah, shape me up. What? Shape up, executive consultant? Eyebrows. You can't do... Then you know what I used to do once upon a time? I would go to the... there was this lovely lady who would wax my eyebrows to make sure of that. But people who are bald... and go to the barbershop, you're selfish. And we don't like selfish people in this world. I'm not about that. It's just disgusting, and it makes me mad. My blood pressure, guess what, has gone through the roof? And I'm pointing.
The moon?
That too. And my medical cannot cover that. Jeffrey, take away... damn, it's not Tuesday nights. But Jeffrey, take away 10 points. But this was the AEW review show. We're going to end it here because I will rant for another 10 minutes. You guys don't want to see that. I will, because I don't like Bill Goldberg. Matter of fact, I'm going to play 2K23. Take out Bill Goldberg. It's going to be me. What's this guy who narrates? I can't think of his name. Morgan Freeman and not Roger Rabbit. What's his name? Mr. Rogers. We're going to take out Bill Goldberg in a handicap match. I'm going to, when I have the video and the stuff like that, you're going to get BadGuy Jack, Morgan Freeman, and Mr. Rogers against Bill Goldberg. That's a 5-star. You hear me, Dave Meltzer? Give me 8 stars because that is fantastic.
Sounds to me like we know the next episode of Unpopular Review we do. We got to just get down, do some 2K, live stream it, and talk some wrestling.
Do you play 2K, sir?
Oh, I played some 2K, sir.
I love it. You know, we used to have a league, and I think we just couldn't get time for it. Maybe we could talk about that for the after show. Like, would you be down for a league?
I would be down for a league. I would even be down if you wanted to go get that arcade. Fight
Which one?
forever. Fight forever.
Dude, okay. So we can do this on the show. I actually have that, and I was playing. I tried to.
Stadium Stampede.
I get my ass kicked. I'm not gonna lie. How well do you do on that? I feel like you have the game. And let me actually hold on. Let me interview you very quick. So the Stampede, what's it called?
Stadium Stampede.
Stadium Stampede. But how do you feel about the game in general?
I enjoy it. I mean, I don't think it's a finished product by any means. I think the game just took way too long to come out, and they're like, we got to release something because it's going to be outdated if we keep waiting. And their whole plan, even Kenny Omega kept saying that over time we're just going to keep updating it, and we're just going to keep adding guys and patching the game, and it's going to get better. So I think within the next 6 months to a year, we're going to get a more complete product, and we're going to get more wrestlers in the game, which are going to make it better. My big knock on this game was there are some little glitchy things.
Yeah.
Like the physics don't always match up right. And the connection with the moves, they don't always hit right. But overall, I just think it's a lacking roster. And
do you feel like it's outdated?
I don't think it's outdated. I just think that they need to add some new arenas. They need to add some things. They need to add a lot of wrestlers in the game. I think if there was like another 20 guys that they just threw in there, it would make it a little more robust feeling. It'd make it feel like it was a little more ready. They have a lot of the main guys, but not enough to really give me enough meat on the bones.
They they have a I saw some recently, and they look like they're gonna bring in.
There's Hook and Danhausen that's coming out.
Yes.
Which is gonna be good. They need that. They need to add those.
But when is FTR coming out?
FTR is in the game. They've been out. They already have a little patch or
maybe I didn't see them. Okay. Now maybe
they're downloadable.
Because I've done the Stadium Stampede, which is pretty much Fortnite in a way.
Yep.
And I got my ass kicked. But I will stream a little bit on it. So guys, if you guys have a Twitch, follow me on BadGuy Jack _. BadGuy Jack _TV. I might bring that and do that a little bit more. Jeffrey said, never seen so much blood in the game. There's a lot of blood in that game. The only match I didn't do was the it's the death match. Did you do that?
That's one of the most fun matches in the game.
It's fun?
It's fun.
Okay, so that might be a stream eventually for Twitch. But you know what? Let's end this stream. We'll talk a little bit more after the show. But we want to say here and say thank you guys for watching on Popular View, the AEW Review Show. This is Dan the Man. He is the AEW we say enthusiast, right?
Aficionado.
The aficionado. That is
aficionado.
So the aficionado. Maybe eventually we'll bring Impact again. I mean, let me ask you real quick before we end it. How do you feel about Impact? Do you feel like we should have an Impact show? Like, have you been following Impact or?
I have missed Impact for the past few weeks. Mm-hmm. If you watch one episode, I feel you're pretty caught up though.
Maybe we'll bring back Impact. Right now we're in the rebuilding phase of Unpopular Review, but you can catch Monday nights, you can catch Tuesday nights. We'll have a Dynamite Review Show. There's a top 5 tomorrow. And there is supposed to be a Raw and SmackDown review this Saturday. So if you guys, man, where's that Raw? Where's that SmackDown review? We have one Saturday. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there because, once again, I'm the great Grand Poobah. Or I should say the great, the Grand Slam Poobah. I'm trying to figure out the name. Either way, we'll see you guys. Dan the Man, thank you. We thank you guys in the chat. We'll see you guys next week for more Dynamite. and much more on Popular Review. Follow all these social media things because it helps and pays the bills. And Jeffrey says, please do. I don't know if it's for the impact thing, but we say thank you. We're going to end the show because we will go into midnight, and I got to go to sleep because I'm in my mid-30s.
Yeah.
And I am hungry. So, adios, guys.
Peace.